Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I will analyze one of the most important games of my whole career. It's not a game where I'm getting any FIDE titles, but that is a game that is basically allowing me to get better at chess. Let's just start with the game. So this is a game that I played in the German league against Michael Heymann, and in this position he started the game with knight to f3. So of course I played d5, I'm taking the center. He goes for e3, I went knight to f6, and now he played the move c4 again. So c4 is a very decent move. The idea is very simple. In case of capture, he just wants to capture back with the bishop, but he mainly wants to apply some pressure against my d5 pawn. This is of course some sort of two-card Reti opening, but I do not really care. I just went for e6. He went for b3 against me, which is just trying to put the bishop on b2. And now I could have played bishop e7, castles, which is a thing that I usually play, but I decided to go for bishop to d6 with the intention, like Magnus Carlsen. This is an idea that he used once at FIDE Tuesday. I just want to go bishop to e7, followed by bishop to a3 in case he goes bishop b2 and knight to c3. So in that position, he went bishop to b2. I decided to castle. He went queen to c2. I went queen to e7. He went knight to c3. I went a6, just making sure that nothing will ever happen on the b5 square. And now he went pawn to d4. So pawn to d4 is basically trying to play c5 and trap my bishop. So obviously I just go on with my plan, which is bishop to a3. And now in cases of captures, I will just be capturing back with my queen. And eventually, he will try to do stuff. But since the bishop is off, he doesn't really have the same amount of pressure that he usually have. So he went bishop to d3. Now I just traded off on b2 and went for knight bd7. So what is the point of this opening and why suddenly my queen on e7? What is actually happening? The goal is simple. I would like to play e5 just to get rid of the central pawns, because this pawn on d4 is controlling a beautiful juicy e5 square and I just want to get rid of it. So he went for short castles, and now I calculated the move e5, and eventually I made a small calculation mistake, which is not really a calculation mistake, but you will see the point. So first of all, there are a lot of tensions in the center, and if you are part of the chess club, you know what I will be talking about. I will just say, yeah, there are tensions in the center, you just calculate. So of course, after e5, I have a lot of things to calculate. For example, the capture on e5, the capture on d5. First of all, if he captures either way, it doesn't matter, I can play e4. If he captures with the pawn, then I just have e4 once again, which is once again a4. So in this position, after e5, what has to be calculated is of course a capture on e5, but I just capture back and I'm attacking the bishop. So if he captures on d5, then I basically win the bishop on d3, and being up a piece is good. The thing is, he has to move knight to d5 in this position, and I calculated that if I capture on d5, he just captures on e5, and he won the pawn on d5. So I have to play, and I can't play, by the way, knight d3 because he captures my queen with check, which is very important. So I calculated that I can just capture on f3. He captures back, and now I would like to play queen g5, but I would be losing my queen if I ever try to play knight h5. So I, of course, captured on d5. He captures back, and now I saw that I can play queen to g5, but then he goes king to h1, and I just visualized myself that, wait, but I would like to see this bishop on h3 first, so that afterwards I can just play queen g5 and mate him. So I see that I can play bishop to h3, and if he goes rook to e1, then I basically have queen to g5, which is mate. But I saw that eventually after bishop to h3, he can play king h1. I'm sorry, so captures, bishop h3, king to h1. And now if I capture, he just captures back with the bishop, and here I would like to say that I was a lot better, but I don't know how I misevaluate. But basically, I needed to take some revenge, and I couldn't really trust myself in going to this line. So I ended up capturing on c4 first. Now if he captures back with the pawn, of course I go e5, and if d5 e5, if d5 e4, then I'm just forking and I win the game. So he goes bishop take, and then again I could play e5, but here once again I wasn't really sure about allowing any of this. Of course it's much better for me, but still, like in the game I don't know why I can't trust myself, but it's okay. He captured back with the bishop, after which I played pawn to b5, which is attacking the bishop. He moves back, then I go pawn to c5. The reason why I didn't start with c5 first is because I was a little bit afraid of queen a3, which is pinning me, and if I try to go b5 threatening b4, he has knight, and now the rook is getting pinned, and now it's a problem. So the pawn is pinned because the rook is hanging, so this is of course a problem. So I start with b5, now I play c5, and if he goes queen a3 now trying to pin me, I have b4 fork, important line, but I saw that he can just capture. He captured. Now if I capture back with the knight, once again I was a little bit afraid of this, so I went queen takes e5, and now I offered him a draw, which is a mistake, but at the same time, why not? So he went b4 and said no. I moved back, and he played a4, and here this is the moment which is really important to me. This is really the moment that I can see as a very important one. I can capture on a4, which is exactly what I played. First of all, if knight takes, then this is the worst pawn ever. There is no need of playing a4. Then if rook takes, I saw that if I ever try to go bishop b7, it's a little bit slow. I see that I can play knight b6 with the intention that one day I might be able to play knight to d5. So I saw rook a5, and now if I go, basically there is b5 in this position. And the problem is I can't capture back immediately on b5 with my bishop, since I would be losing my rook on a8. So I saw that here after rook a5, I have to play bishop b7 first, which is now intending to play the move knight to d5. It's just that in this case, it's not blundering anything. This is, this is pretty good. This is simply pretty good. By the way, hopefully the chessboard is big enough. Yes, it is. After bishop to b7, I saw a couple of moves. What if rook a1? But I could basically play knight e5 and get the pawn back. For me, it was crystal clear that this pawn was way too weak. So he went b5 against me, and of course I calculated that and saw that I can just capture. Of course, if he captures back, I just take on a5 and I'm the king. Either way, it doesn't matter. So he went rook b5, which is also what I saw, which is cubering both my pieces. But now I had to have, I had to show some nervous skills, and I have this in-between capture on f3. So if he captures on b6, I capture on e2, and now this position is just equal. I'm maybe a tiny bit better, but it won't be enough to do anything. Of course he captures back on f3, attacking both my rook and my knight. Playing rook b8 wouldn't be sufficient. That would be simply blundering the knight on b6. But I saw that I can play knight c4 in between move, which is exactly what happened in the game. Now he went queen to e2, and I basically played rook to c8, which is defending my knight. He went rook to b7, I played rook to c7. Now if he captures the knight, by the way, the rook is getting pinned, but I do not really care because at the end of the day I'm winning the knight. Or I can basically just capture back on b7 twice, and that will be an even easier draw. If rook b1, I just move my queen away, and we're basically fine. But he went rook f to b1, and now I don't remember what I played knight to e5, which is basically, simplifying the position, like a lot. I'm just ready to trade on e5, then we will have knight against knight. There won't be any imbalances anymore in this position. I'm fine with the draw. Because if he captures rook there, then I'm still winning the knight, so he can't play any of those ideas. If he tries something like knight there, then it doesn't change anything. I can just liquidate everything once again, make me liquid. Now g3 he was played. I captured on f3, he captured back, and here we agreed to a draw. Why is this game so important even though I didn't win this game? The reason is very simple. In that moment, I was capable of seeing more, just faster than ever, and I could basically trust my chess and trust myself much more than I was basically capable of before all those losses. And I just see that I'm basically back in business. I'm ready to play the European Club Cup. I'm ready to play the... Subscribe to the channel. We reach 1,500 subscribers. Thank you very much. A road to 100k, guys. Thank you very much once again. See you in the future. Take care.